Recently, Sony came out with the Sony A7R Mark II, which is going to be their new super mega ultra resolution camera, which is like 42 million pixels or something like that. A video I did on it was just kind of going, holy crap, Sony have just thrown everything at this camera to make it awesome. It's got awesome video features, it's got amazing autofocus, it's got unbelievable megapixels, and it's also got image stabilization all within the camera and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's absolutely, feature-wise, really good. But again, I'm still not heading over to Sony just yet. A wee while ago, I'll put the link to down below, I had a play and a feel with one of the other Sony A7 cameras. It was the original A7, and it was diddy. It was so small that it felt really small. I'm trying to find something which is the equivalent smallness. I don't have anything that's equivalent small, but it made my Panasonic GH4 feel like a beast compared to it. And there's a big issue I have with a camera which is being made to be small when that smallness doesn't add functionality. So you know, a lot of people were getting smaller and smaller phones. In the past, you used to have a big brick of a phone, and then it got smaller and smaller and smaller until it got to the point where people were going, can't press the numbers on my phone, it's so smaller, it's too small, and then suddenly iPhone came out with a nice big screen, and then now you get like the Sony, was it the Samsung Galaxy S3, which is bigger, and actually phones are just getting bigger now because it becomes more functional. And it's kind of the same which I feel about the Sony camera at the moment. It's like, wow, you've packed in so much awesomeness into this, but it's so small that the smallness isn't making it sound like, oh, it's now so much easier for me to carry around and all that kind of stuff, because it's still a full frame sensor in this camera. That requires generally bigger lenses. Well, certainly bigger lenses in comparison to something like a Micro Four Thirds or even APS-C size sensor camera. And so the one thing which I think doesn't quite work with this is that you have a tiny small little camera, usually with a small little grip, which then, for it to get the optical quality from its lenses, the lenses still need to be behemoths. And that doesn't work. That just creates an imbalance of tiny little camera, massive lens. There are a couple of lenses which could be primes, which are nice and small, which do work and will be handy. But if you're looking for just like something like a 24-70 or 70-200 or something like that, they're gotta be big chunky lenses, especially for me, for my kind of property work that I do. I want ultra wide angle, so I think they've got 16-35, and it's huge. You're just kind of going, that totally negates the fact that you've managed to make such a tiny little camera. So that's the one thing. It doesn't actually help that it's smaller. So also just cramming all that into a smaller thing, which is harder to grip, possibly more fiddly, not so good. I didn't like where the shutter button was on the first Sonys, but it looks like they've moved the shutter button on the A7R2 and the A7 Mark II as well, making them a bit more comfortable for shooting with. However, the next problem that I've got with them at the moment is their battery life. I've been trying to find out the details about it, and like the A7R Mark II is totally like, ooh, I'm really liking the ideas of this. Looking at the battery life on it, looking at the specifications, first of all, it's going to be about £3,000. Yeah, not happy paying that amount of money. Its dimensions are a little bit bigger, certainly bigger than the other A7 first ones, that's for sure. It seems to be a bigger chunker camera, and at 625 grams, that's only 200 grams less than what the Nikon D610 is, which I think is a great camera. But the point I'm getting to point on this one is somewhere down here it tells me the battery life. Yeah, battery life for still images is only 290 shots through the viewfinder. I find it odd that through the viewfinder you have 50 less potential photos than you do through the LCD screen. I would imagine the LCD screen being a bigger thing would require more power. Clearly I'm wrong there. What what a lot of the problem maybe here is that because the way that SEPA do their tests, it will have the image stabilization going on the actual sensor whenever they're taking the photos. So that is another thing. However, to give you an example, I shot a wedding recently with the Nikon D600 with the Tamron 24-70 with its VC on, vibration compensation on. So the whole time we're having the vibration compensation being done in lens at the same time as the focus is being worked at the same time. And I managed to get a photo of my battery life. I had it with the extra battery, vertical battery grip on the bottom and the other battery inside. But with one battery, I was able to get 1,147 photos with still 31% battery life. That equates to, I think it's about 1,500 photos. That was doing video, that was doing photos, that was with vibration compensation on, that was with autofocus on, that was with exposure metering on, doing aperture priority for a lot of the time. And in fact, I was doing videos as well at the same time. You're like, that's a phenomenal amount of shooting on just one battery. And if, the difference between a potential of 1,500 compared to, at the most, 400, 450 kind of photos is a massive change to your workflow whenever you're shooting. So instead of just going, hey, I've got a camera, I've got a battery, I'm off to go shoot, it's like, no, I need to make sure I've got all my other batteries all charged up. Because that's, if you're going for a walk around Edinburgh for a day, let's say you're a tourist in Edinburgh going, I'm going to go for a walk around Edinburgh, you could be easily smashing out more than 300, 400, 500 photos in a day just walking around because of the amount of awesome sights to see. So having a smaller camera, which requires a smaller battery, which makes it have less ability to shoot photos, is another thing which is kind of holding me back. And it's something which I think can be sorted out with just battery technology. I'm not saying it needs to have a big battery, but if we could just have battery technology which A, it could charge up super quickly, or B, it just held a bigger charge for longer. That's something which I'd be more interested in rather than, oh, it's got a tiny body and it can take 24 photos until the battery's out. It's a bit of a struggle going on there. So the SEPA standard for the Nikon D610, that was saying it was about 900 photos per battery. So you can definitely get more than what SEPA claim to do, but I'd much rather have a camera which SEPA is saying you can get 900, so that's 3 times more than what the Sony is saying it's able to do. So just something to be aware of and something to definitely consider whenever kind of going, hey, I'm going to go to Canon or I'm going to go to Sony, I'm going to go to Nikon, is it's not just about the sensor, it's not just about the camera body, it's about everything that's involved from batteries to the weight of the lenses, to the size of the lenses that you're getting, to the extra features that you get within the camera, such as the image stabilization, or whether that's in-lens image stabilization going on there. Again, the other thing which I'm quite liking is at the moment is the extra lens compatibility that Sony's kind of brought up. They've brought these certain adapters where you can use third-party lenses, like even using Canon lenses, where you can get an adapter which will then still have autofocus, which is like, whoever in the Sony marketing department thought that bit up, I was like, genius. That was a good move. That makes a lot of people kind of less fearful of going, oh, if I go to Sony, I'm going to have to sell all my Canon stuff or all my Nikon stuff. It's like, well, actually, we've got an adapter for that, so you don't need to worry about that. That was a good move. I like that a lot, but I definitely think, yeah, if you're getting this, if you're going to Sony, you've got to at least have a good amount of time testing out, playing, if renting the actual camera beforehand to see if it really, like the features may fit your needs, but if a camera hinders your ability to work efficiently because of its size or because of its downfall, such as battery life or lens capability, be clear and understand exactly what you're walking into before you go and upgrade or side grade your camera choices. So that's just my little thought about Sony just now. It's like, it's still so tempting, just can't quite fork out £2,799 for a whole new system without even a lens yet. And I think the adapter is pretty expensive as well. But let me know if any of you are also... this is me just suffering more gas. Let me know if any of you are also suffering gas. So like, just now I'm like, Fuji, Sony, nothing else. Fuji and Sony are doing really well and really getting my attention. Well, of course, Panasonic. I'm thinking about lenses for that. Yeah, Nikon and Canon, they're getting kind of left behind at the moment in terms of gear acquisition syndrome going on here. Are you feeling the same? Let me know. Cheers. Bye bye.